Welcome to Fabric. In this video, we're going to learn how to use Fabric's timeline component. We first need to create the Fabric Manager and Event Manager. Then, we add a timeline component in our audio hierarchy through the Fabric top menu, Component, Timeline. We rename it Car, as we want to create an emulation for a car engine sound controlled by the timeline component. We open the Timeline window through Window, Fabric, Timeline. A default parameter has already been created. We rename it RPM, set it to loop, and add a max value of 6000 to have a better control on the parameter. We add a new layer that we will call Engine. It will control the sounds that will be played in the different areas that we will create on the timeline. We'll add 5 regions that will represent the 5 sounds of a car's gears. We can set the length of the regions and their starting points. We set them to auto pitch so that the sound will increase or decrease in pitch based on the location of the cursor on the timeline and on the auto pitch base we specify. We will rename the regions and add an audio component that will be played when the cursor is within the region. You can right-click on the crossfade area between the 2 regions to get crossfade options. We will set it to crossfade raised, which is an equal power crossfade. Now that all our regions are created, we need to choose which sound each of them will play. So, we need to import our audio assets in the components created in each region. The regions in the timeline can contain other components, such as random or sequence components. Now, let's add a file to each component, then set the component to loop. We're going to add a volume property and a parameter which we will call power to the timeline. We will be able to control the volume offset of the layer with the power parameter. We can manage our events easily with the Event Editor window. Go to Window, Fabric, Event Editor. We need to set the proper event triggers for this sound to be triggered. And select the desired event. We add an empty game object where we will store our triggers. And drop the component in the red area in order to create an event listener. Now we can play the level and adjust the different parameter values to reproduce the sound of a car driving. You can also preview the engine using the Previewer window without having to run the scene. And that brings us to the end of this Fabric tutorial. For more information and tutorials, please visit tasman-audio.co.uk.